We've all heard quotes that are meant to convey the awakened mind, the Buddha mind. Here are a few that you might be familiar with. Recognize experience as experience. Recognize the context as the context. A single, unified landscape. Recognize the field as the field. Or how I personally would describe the shift in view. What experience is could be likened to a constantly changing snow globe of scenes. Scenes that are occupying a defined playing field in the conscious experience. Although most people would describe experience as feeling like an observer on the edge of a scene, looking in, mindfulness can reveal that what we are is actually the whole scene. The reason for this sense of somehow being solidly located on the edge of the flow of experience. The scene has sensations that are labeled me in relationship with the scene, resulting in the sense of somehow being separate on the edge. Here is an exercise that might clarify this playing field of the mind and may point you towards how to inspect this further. This exercise will be best performed in a room that is dimmed. Start with a comfortable gaze, looking out towards a horizon. Focus on an object centrally located in the visual field, in the distance. Notice the sense that you are on the edge of this scene, looking at the object. An observer. Notice the edges of this fairly oval scene, where the visual field fades out. Move attention to sensations of the head on this side of the scene. And, without moving the head, move the eyes to the right of the scene and explore a few objects that inhabit that space. Now move back to center. Gently move your gaze to the left side of the oval visual field. Again, explore a few objects that inhabit that space. And now back to the middle. Notice what it feels like to be on the edge of this scene, looking in. Focus on a tiny object, off in the distance, centrally located in the visual field. And now, close your eyes. Is the same oval visual field present? Experientially, can you find the sense that you are still looking off into the distance, even with eyes closed? Can the sky of the mind, the visual field, be recognized? Is the quality of depth present in the visual field, even with eyes closed? If depth is available to be explored, do you find that quality of experience interesting? If you were only looking at the backside of your eyelids, how can there still be depth to this experience? Wouldn't there only be an experience of flatness to the visual field? unless the landscape of the conscious experience is present, both with eyes open and closed. And with eyes closed, the landscape is just void of the previous incoming information. Kind of like seeing the playing board where experience can happen without the pieces. If that characteristic of experience is noticed, that's a big step forward. Again, notice the oval visual field. And for a moment, anticipate that field being filled with the previous visual information. And now, open your eyes. Notice that when the eyes are open, that space is just being filled with information. And when the eyes are closed, notice the depth, void of the information. With eyes closed, there might be some residual imprints of information. Still inhabiting the visual field with the eyes closed. If you're tracking so far, there's a second part to this story. A quality to experience that is harder to see. We have to explore the sense of a subject on the edge of this playing field. With eyes open and closed, there is the sense that you are somehow on the edge of this scene, looking in. Let's explore this. With eyes open, notice the oval nature of the visual playing field, the sense of peering in. From the edge of the playing field. Now close your eyes. Observe any shimmering in the visual field. Are there any residual imprints of previous information still occupying that space? Gently move your eyes to the right and then the left, and then back to the middle. Notice the oval nature of the visual field. The sense of being on the edge. Move attention to sensations of the head. And return to gazing deep into the visual field. I'm going to tell you the answer to the riddle. And if you experience the shift, you will experience the answer too. Whether eyes open or closed, when the Buddha mind is experienced, the visual fields that are being explored with eyes open and closed will be identical to what has been explored so far. However, the sense of self is loosened. Sam Harris describes the change in experience as a shift in view. He has also described the shift in experience as dropping back. For me, the sense literally can feel like a diffusion of sensations, with the label me, like the head, face, and the contracted sense of being located only on the edge of this playing field. These sensory phenomena dissipate as a concrete object, me. They don't go away, but are seen as nothing other than a clustering of sensation that, when not identified with, is experienced as weather in the system. There is a shift in view to being experience, not limited to the sense of being on the edge, looking in. In contrast to the language Sam Harris uses, my experience might better be described as dropping forward. Once identification with these clustering sensations is seen through, there's the most subtle sense of moving forward, experientially, as the playing field. That is the shift to the context, as the context. Thanks for exploring.